I just stuck a bull. This bull has been sounding gnarly, nasty. On my right, there's two bulls fighting. I can see them going, their bodies moving back and forth between the trees. And then all of a sudden I hear this. There's another bull right there. Walking through his aspens.
I shot him. You didn't hear that?
No. Oh. We both just shot the same bull.
He shot him first.
He shot him first. Oh my gosh. What a heck of a pursuit, dude. All freaking day.
When your buddy calls you, says you got a buck down. And what does he got? A buck down.
Look what I found.
What a sweet coos, man. Opening day, heck yeah. Way to go, Steve.
Arizona Archery Club is a premier partner with Bowhunting AZ. When it comes to attention to detail and a fiery passion, Arizona Archery Club brings it all to the table. With all the latest bows and archery equipment, you can demo every single model in person, free of charge at their demo room. Walk through the process with an experienced bow tech and see which bow is right for you without the sales pressure. Their indoor archery range offers air-conditioned lanes with standard or 3D targets available. When you visit, be sure to mention you're a listener to the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Let's all support local. Conquering your own dark mountain is no easy task. The backcountry requires grit and determination. Having quality supplements like Dark Mountain's Kodiak pre-workout, whey proteins, and nourishing recovery are all an essential part of your success in the journey to harvest from the land. Dark Mountain is a 2% for conservation company because they know that with a collective effort, we can cherish these resources for a long time to come. Use promo code BowhuntingAZ20 for 20% off your order. Afflictor broadheads are cutting to the core of broadhead technology. With both expandable hybrids and fixed broadheads, you have an arsenal available for any hunting need. Team Bowhunting AZ has placed our trust in Afflictor as our exclusive broadheads to hunt with. Check out Afflictor's selection over at afflictorbroadheads.com. Built mountain tough, SKRE Gear offers hunters the highest quality clothing for affordable prices. With patterns designed by military concealment specialists, SKRE Gear brings you closer to the game without being detected. With every climate in mind, SKRE Gear hosts a huge selection of clothing for all the terrains of North America and beyond. Check out SKRE Gear today at www.skregear.com. Use promo code BowhuntingAZ for 15% off your first order. Too many of us feel at a loss when it comes to storing or displaying our bows. Rax has the answer. With many of the major bow brands available or even the option to have your own custom racks made. This is hands down the only way to show off your setup. I even prefer to have a mini racks for my Euro mounts. Made in the US out of carbon steel, racks and mini racks secure into your wall and offer padded hooks to give your bow the perfect spot where it's out of the way but easy to access. Check out racks and use promo code PASSION15 to get 15% off your order. Visit raxinc.com. That's RAXXINC.com today. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Today we are podcasting from the Bowhunting AZ lair, aka my room, because it's the only quiet place in the house.
I was expecting it to be like a little bit more manly.
A little more real, yeah.
When you think of a lair, you think of like Batman's cave, all dark and, these crazy little machines and everything. And
right.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, originally after I shot my bull, Devin said I could put it in here, and then she retracted that pretty quickly. So it was like there should have been a pair of antlers in here, but she kind of took that back. So,
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she'll let me put the axis in here or something. I bet you she'll let me put the axis rug.
The rug,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I still need to figure out who to go to for that, but
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Brian Fisher for taking on my Oryx.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what he does with that.
Fisher Hunts is his
Fisher
Instagram.
Hunts.
But he has a different one, though, too, for his
AZ Artist Touch or something like that. Yeah.
AZ Artist's Touch.
Touch, yeah. Him and his buddy, I guess, Dan, I guess, something like that.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah. But
he's going to do your Oryx. You're going to do a
he's gonna
shoulder
do
mount?
more. Yeah, shoulder mount.
Okay.
And then when I was in there, he had like 3 different lions that he was already doing, and one of them was just crazy. I mean, like super, super realistic, and it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty sweet. Pretty,
Yeah. I think that's the one that was
pretty
sitting on
awesome.
the log, right? Or something like that?
Standing on a log, like it's
Standing?
about ready to maul you, man. It looks pretty cool. So,
Heck yeah.
but
So we've kind of got a few things. We just got some catching up to do, really. So I had kind of busted out some show notes for different episodes that I wanted to talk about, and I think we're just going to kind of roll.
just like dive in it, man. Let's get it done, huh?
We've got some catching up. So we're going to kind of talk about a few things, and some of those will be lessons from our OTC Deer season. So we kind of had a lot of like ups and downs and just takeaways, really. Nothing bad necessarily, but just takeaways and stuff from that. Texas. Got to talk about Texas because we haven't done.
I don't think we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, for those of us or for those of you that follow us on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen some of this stuff already, but we'll go in depth and talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then if we get really far into it, we'll talk about this last subject. But honestly, I think this last subject could be a good podcast all on its own.
All right, well, don't spoil the beans.
Yeah, no. And then I put a feeler out, too, on Instagram for any topics that people wanted us to talk about. And one of the questions that somebody did ask was they wanted to know what our layering setup is for spring bear, or spring hunts, I guess, or spring bear. So
we can get into that, too.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll finish up with that one.
That'll be a good one.
Cool. So let's start with lessons from Deer OTC. Or do you want to talk about Texas first?
I'd say let's just start with the OTC. I think we can knock that out. And,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, what a hunt, huh?
Yeah. Dude, we were all over.
Oh wow, from going in and Jeep breaking down, drive shaft. I mean,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had this whole different plan set up. We're like, all right, we're gonna try this, try that.
Yeah.
And when we started getting in, you found those big elk sheds.
Yeah. So, you know, I'll take this first.
Go for it.
A lot of people, we hear a lot and we see a lot on social media that if you're not going deep into backcountry, you're not going to find big animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is just my personal experience. Everyone can always have their own conclusion. And I think each of us as hunters, we're always going to have a different experience.
Right.
Everyone's going to have a different experience. Nothing will ever be the same for every single hunter across the board.
Right.
For us, we found much bigger animals and a lot more of them in very human populated areas.
It was weird.
Not residences, but just a lot of traffic.
Traffic. Yeah.
A lot of traffic.
Near like main roads and you know, I mean, like I remember sitting up on a hillside it was actually probably midday. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting there, I'm looking, and I was like, "What? You're the one that showed me." You're like, "Hey, there's a doe right there."
Yeah.
And we're like, "What?" And there's a road. And
we watched that side by side drive by.
Yeah, and just drives literally right by.
yards.
Yeah, if that. And she's just bedded right in this thicket, you know. And, and they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You could barely, if you looked off the spotting scope or looked off your binos for a second, and then it's like, all right, where did she go again? You know, and those gray ghosts, those coos deer, are pretty tricky, but.
She did. She bedded right in those thickets.
Yeah.
Like what?
And if you guys don't know, I mean, January here in Arizona, I mean, everything's kind of dead. So they blend in with them so good. I mean, their hide, everything that just blends in with the surroundings everywhere. So but yeah, so what I was gonna get at was we were kind of planning on going kind of deep back in these areas, and that all of a sudden the Jeep broke down, you know, and so
That's the most disturbing sound too. You're heading uphill and
what was that? Jake, what was that? And for me, it's like, I don't want to tell him.
Yeah, you're a mechanic,
right?
so you know right away.
Tell him, but I know it's not good, you know? Wait, so we had to get that fixed. And that rest of the day, we ended up just hiking up in some gnarly stuff. I mean, we checked out some really good looking area, but didn't see nothing. I mean, we saw
found my first shed set.
Yeah, your elk too.
Yeah.
I mean, those are not big elk sheds too. So, but the name of this, I guess the whole story of this is, we got the Jeep back and running. We're like, all right, well, let's head back into camp, and all this. So we start heading back, and like right next to camp where we were going, we're like, oh, there's a herd of deer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should just start staying somewhere closer to these roads, like, wow, let's check this out in the morning.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, all right, well, maybe sometimes it just, in our experience, we've just noticed, hey, I mean, you don't necessarily have to go way back in there and try and find something, and when you can have them right there and accessible. So it's not always the case. Yeah.
Yeah, and so during the daytime when your Jeep broke down, we were waiting for Jake's dad to come out and basically rescue us, bring us tools and parts and stuff. And so we decided to veer off and go. We were already far back. We were already remote as it was.
Yeah.
So we went off the road and started going back in because we had this mindset of the further in we go, the bigger animals we're going to find. Yeah. We literally didn't see anything.
That's what I'm saying.
No fresh sign. Nothing. Like the sheds that were there were way old.
Yeah.
And we sat there in glass for the better part of the day.
Yeah.
Because it was late afternoon by the time your dad got out.
Yeah, you got up there late.
Yeah, we glassed all day, nothing. Didn't see a single deer. We were glassing north faces. There was like a big bowl, and that whole bowl was crescented towards the north, and there was nothing in there whatsoever.
Yeah, and then you had a whole bunch of like little just big ravines and draws in there, and we were just glassing, just nothing. I mean, nothing showed up, and so that was the start of when I rolled my ankle pretty bad. As soon as we like a whole day hiking in these mountains, as soon as I get back to the road, what do? I just roll my ankle.
Yeah, that injury lasted you a little while too.
It did, dude. It sucked. But that was one of the experiences. Like I said, you get back in so far deep, and sometimes it can prevail. I'm not saying it won't, but don't overthink the closer spots.
Yep. One of the things that I took away from definitely was to do better at stalking, and by doing that, I need to take my time and slow down a little bit more. I know sometimes I tend to try and rush my stalks, or I tend to try and rush my footing and stuff. And there are times when you do need to hurry up and just make the play. Yeah. But a lot of times I feel like I'm trying to go too fast or something, and I end up making footfalls that I can audibly hear, and I know the deer can audibly hear too, if that makes sense. Because just whether I'm like losing my balance or something because I'm rushing.
See, for me, sometimes I think it's opposite. Like when we're glassing, and I'll just be like, well, let's just wait and see where they go. Like I want to see where they end up going, because it's always in my mind. I always want to see like, all right, well, what are they going to do, and so forth. And it's always good to just observe. Yeah. And next thing you know, they crest this mountain, and then you're like, they're gone. You try and crest the mountain after them, and you're just, whoa.
I think I remember one of the last days. I think it was the last day we were there before a couple days later I went out and harvested my buck. Yeah. But I think I remember pushing you. I remember a specific point in time where I was like, you need to hurry up and make a decision. Like, do you want to go for that buck or not? It was. Remember we were sitting there glassing, and that was when we saw that buck on that finger that stuck out. It was when we first saw the 3 bucks that were together. Right. And you were looking at them through your spotting scope, and I said, you need to hurry up and make a decision. Do you want to go after that buck or not? And you're like, because you wanted a mule deer. Right. And finally, we were looking at coos. Right. And then you were finally like, all right, let's go. So that's when we started trekking across. Dude, that was the first time I think we went across, and that opened that whole can of worms to discovering their territory and everything.
Yeah, it was.
So that was pretty cool.
It was really cool.
Decision making.
And that's the thing. Like when another big thing for me was, when we finally, that last day, like our very last day, for me at least, when we were hunting, and we saw the mule deer that morning, and we kind of had it patterned down of what they were usually doing, and they completely did 100% opposite.
Yeah, they did
that day. I thought they would have rounded this mountain and gone down into this deep, nasty little ravine or ridge, and it's super thick. I mean, super thick vegetation, low trees. And so we get up on the top of this mountain. And I'm thinking, I can see this whole gauntlet, you know, I can see this whole valley. And I don't see them in there. So my only other thought was they already rounded this mountain and they dropped down. And so we ended up spending that whole day hiking down in that valley, going down into this gnarly country. You know, we found some really cool. We found that one weird like cave tree thing. I don't know what you want to call it. That was cool.
That bed.
Yeah, that weird bed.
Definitely looks like a predator bed.
Something like that. Yeah. And then we were just like, all right, well, I don't know where else to go, you know. Yeah. And so we hiked back up to the top. And lo and behold, they're there where they were in the morning, you know? It's like they didn't even leave.
Yeah.
They just bedded right there and I couldn't. So,
yeah.
It's just sometimes for me, I think if I would have made a move earlier that day, I would have seen that they didn't go off or they just stayed right there. So, but.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one that I put down. Balancing your time of assessing a buck when you glass it up and choosing when to finally move and pursue.
Right.
Deciding before your hunt what you will and will not pursue is a great way of saving time.
Yeah.
So pre-planning, okay, this is what I want, this is what I'm after.
But if you see this,
be prepared for all that to go out the window because if you see this, you're going to go after it, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
And that was tough because, like, for me, I was like, I wanted to get this mule deer, you know, I wanted to get a mule deer, and then it's like, oh, well, there's Coos right here, you know, so.
Yeah, and yeah, when you start to, one of the things I put down was just kind of when you start to wonder to yourself, because I've done this, if you're taking too long, it's probably time to move or make a move to another spot. Because, that typically is, if it brings it up in your mind subconsciously, that's your body's way of saying, like, hey, you should probably do something. So
yeah, I'll keep that in mind. That might come in handy.
I don't know about you. I believe you'd agree with me, but I found it beneficial to be in our spot, ready to go, roughly 1 hour before prime time, whether that's in the morning or in the evening, depending on what kind of hunt you're doing. If it's something you can only get out there in the afternoon. Actually, I'm going to take that back. In the afternoon, I would do it even earlier. Because look at me, I showed up at 2:00 on the last closing day. And saw a deer in the middle of the daylight out feeding, and that's what drove me over to that spot.
That's at least an hour, I would say. At least, because you want everything to settle. We want all the noise to settle down, you know, everything calm, and that way you can get in there.
If I'm sitting up blind, it's even more than that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, even hiking into a glassing spot or anything like that, I would say at least an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When I'm about to make a stalk, I'll use my rangefinder sometimes to range the distance between me and the animal. Once I have that range, then I'll pull up my phone and use like a line distance tool on Onyx or Flatline or whatever app you guys are using, and, to draw a straight line that is roughly the distance that I just ranged. So this way,
kind of ensure what you think that range might actually be.
Yeah, and so this way, like as I stalk over there to where the animal is, I know when I'm getting closer to the spot of where I last saw it.
Okay.
So like, oh, hey, there's a deer over there. I'll range it. Okay, the deer's 250 yards. I'll draw a line from my position to where I think the deer's position is, just like using the topography, a 250-yard line.
Depth, man.
Oh, yeah. And then I'll start walking that, because so many times I'll like start putting a stalk on something or start heading over that way.
Right.
And you get lost. By the time you're over there, everything looks different, and you're like, wait, where's that bush
Where
that
was I just at? Yeah.
Yeah, and so this way, if I'm using this on my maps, then I can kind of have a bearing of where I am, and I'm like, okay, I'm within a 100-yard radius. I'm sub 100 yards now. It's time to start stalking real quiet, because I'm getting on that deer's position.
Yeah, yeah. So, I like the sophistication, man. I like that. That's solid.
Yeah, that's just something that helped me. I used it the day I killed my buck.
That's cool.
So it must work.
I'm a little old school, man. I like to just see it and go. Yeah, but no, I get it, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I never thought of that.
Okay. Yeah, so just typically, like sometimes once you start moving,
and you always track wherever you're going. I'm looking at your phones all the time and your maps.
Dude, there's so many dotted lines.
Like seeing, wow, okay, when's this? Was this earlier? Whoa, dude, you've been tracking the whole time.
That's
I've
my
noticed
problem
that.
now is I need to start figuring out how to organize that. because now it just looks,
now it just looks like
I'm
a
at the
scribble
point
mess.
where I've hammered my spot so much it looks like total chaos.
How do you know which day that was?
You're right.
Yeah, I don't even
I mean,
know.
if I click on it, it'll tell me when I saved it and stuff.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah, but I need to figure out a color coding system because you can change the color codes of those dotted lines.
Huh. Yeah, dude. Mine looks
So-
like a plain piece of paper, while his looks like his kid scribbled on it for about 6 hours. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Yeah.
Right. Always knock an arrow when coming over a rise.
Yeah.
Right, Jake?
Yeah.
You remember your elk?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never know when a buck or an
And
elk or
whenever you're
whatever.
going over a rise,
Yeah.
just like thoroughly and then just slowly,
Yeah.
patiently crest that rise.
Absolutely, because you never know when that buck or the bull could be bedded or even standing out in the open
Right.
with a shot opportunity as soon as you crest that. So before you crest a little rise or drop off, typically I'll try and pre-range the top of a tree that's over that drop off there. And so that way I have some sort of yardage in mind when I walk over, in case I don't have the opportunity to range once I crest it. So
Yeah.
if you walk over the edge and the animal pegs you right away, you're like, okay, that tree right there was 60. He's a little bit in front of it. Maybe I'll shoot like high 50s or something like that. But yeah, you had that experience kind of when
I was tracking my
Tracked
bull,
your bull.
yeah. Yeah, we were tracking that bull. And I think I might have mentioned that in our previous podcast. But yeah, we were walking, following blood trail. And it looked like it dropped off down a hill. And then there was a road further on. And then it goes into another open valley and then drops into another ridge, And I thought, well, he's not here on this hillside, so he's already crossed the road. I better hurry up before somebody saw him already cross the road, I'm thinking. And so I'd start going down this hill. All of a sudden, about 15 yards in front of me, my bull just stands right up, and I'm looking like the deer in headlights, I'm just like, what am I doing here? Knock an arrow. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm just seeing him walking off with the arrow stuck in him bleeding, I'm like, all right, well, that's reassuring, but dang.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess the moral of the story is always be prepared. I mean, whether you're tracking down a bull or tracking down a deer or you're trying to get one and coming up a hilltop or coming down a ridge, cresting a huge mountain or cresting a top, just be aware,
Yeah, anytime you crest anything, just be ultra careful. Go real slow.
That was
Glass.
the biggest thing, yeah.
That's the big thing I learned this time was glass and go, because that's how I found those giant bucks that were bedded.
Yeah.
And that got me a shot opportunity on some absolute stud bucks.
Yeah.
Which I screwed up in other ways. But that was something too. And that this last OTC season really taught me is that I try and force the shot to happen too much. And I think I talked about that a little bit at the ranch. Actually, I talked about it with Andre, my guide.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, I realized over this last OTC season that I really try and force the shot to happen, and you can't. I don't know how to explain it other than that just when you know, you're like this, it'll feel right. It'll feel harmonic almost in a sense.
Sometimes that's real hard too because your adrenaline is just pumping.
Yes.
I mean, when you got this animal
And you have
that
to-
you spent days and days chasing, especially, I mean, even like this Texas hunt that we just went on, but, I mean, what, you were probably 4 days in.
I was getting desperate.
Yeah, we're all rooting for you, We're like, oh, come on, Stevie, let's go. You got it. And I can just see it in your face, like, I want to get this deer,
Yeah,
But
I was getting
But
down
yeah,
there.
like you're in a hunt or even our elk hunt, last day, right?
Yeah.
And there was some other issues with that made it even worse. In the end, it all pays out. And and both shots were perfection. So, but yeah, I think that says something when you have an animal and you've been tracking it, let's say 4 days, or you've been trying to get this shot on this animal and you've been putting in stocks and just unsuccessfully filling that tag and you finally come to that point where you've got this opportunity. Of course, adrenaline is just pumping, and so that says something to you, obviously, but to the hunter of making that ethical shot and being able to successfully and pinpoint where you want to put that arrow when all that's going on. I mean, that's harder said than done, you know?
Sure.
Or harder done than said.
Yeah. But, and so like being able to, I would say like mentally prevail over your emotions, because your emotions are going to skyrocket. Oh, and like you said, your adrenaline, your emotions, all going, that.
Yeah.
And so you need to try and as much as you can mentally stay cool. And that's something, by no means I'm not an expert whatsoever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like, this is something I walked away with a heavy amount of learning from this season. Yeah. And it was just like, I really need to calm myself down. I need to try and think clearly and not let my emotions get the best of me, because I really honestly believe I would have shot one of those giant bucks when they were bedded if I had not tried to just hurry up and rush the shot. So what happened was I glassed up 2 bucks. I think it was 2. Yeah, 2 bucks that were 2 giant coos bucks that were bedded. They were so big, I thought they were large mule deer bucks. Yeah. And I was on my knees and I had a stalker decoy, and I decided.
Were you using the stalker decoy then?
I was at first, and then I laid my bow down.
Okay.
So like so I had my bow out in front of me with the stalker decoy up, and then I laid the stalker decoy on its face.
Oh, okay.
And then I started like crawling on my knees towards them.
Gotcha.
And what happened was I got, I want to say within 53 yards of them, and I said, okay, I'm within 53 yards. That's a good enough shot for me. I know I can peg 53
and
yards.
There was we got to that spot.
Yeah.
Once you said you shot, when I showed up, I was like, there's a lot of low-hanging trees, right? I mean, so even to get that shot off, you had to be.
It's all juniper country out there.
So.
Yeah.
But,
I had mentally in my mind, 53 yards, I'm good. All I got to do is spook them out of their beds, and this is money, like it's in the bag. And that was that was right there where I went wrong. Because I was like, 53 yards, I know I can make this shot. When in hindsight, I should have kept stalking, crawling forward.
Either that or
get a better position.
Yeah, or get a better position, just wait it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Because there was a series of low-hanging branches right there. And I thought to myself that I could squeeze my arrow in under those low-hanging branches, and I thought wrong.
I think there's a lot of times where once you, even if you successfully harvest that tag or that animal, and there's still always something where you're like, I still could have done this better, you know?
Oh, for sure.
That was, I think a lot of scenarios where, like the elk hunt or Texas and all that, we'll talk about that, but a lot of it where you're trying to force that shot and you're thinking, well, I had it, but if I would have done this, you know, and just waited and you know, and so
Sure. Yep. But so had I not pushed and had I not fallen back on the 53 yards, I'm comfortable, I'm sure I can squeeze it in under that, you know. If I had just pushed a little farther, probably gotten a little closer, maybe gotten to like another 10 yards and made it 40, and then gotten also a better shooting lane that didn't have some obstructions in it.
And that was a big thing that I thought. I was like, well, dude, you got to shut off like in this stuff? Like, wow, okay.
Dude, and honestly, it was like 3 or 4 inches that made the difference.
Yeah.
Had I not been, had my arrow been a couple inches lower, it would have for sure connected with that buck.
And that's a big key factor where when you're practicing, even shooting your bow, try practicing with low-hanging branches and trying to squeeze that arrow through. I mean, try shooting with some obstacles.
Like a canopy almost.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it was. You know, a real low canopy of junipers, and they were bedded under it.
And shoot kneeling. Yeah,
and shoot kneeling. I mean, practice, get comfortable with shooting kneeling.
Because if you guys think you're gonna pull off a 60-yard shot with a canopy, even kneeling, it's not gonna happen.
But I mean, your chances of standing perfectly, getting your perfect anchor point, saying, "All right, hold on, dear. Wait, I'm not ready yet." I mean, it's not gonna happen. Right. So, try practicing in some stressful environments.
Exactly.
To help you succeed when you're out there. But
okay, we're recording. All right. So next, I have make sure you have ample supplies for being in the dark. And just because we've packed out in the dark quite a few times now, we packed your bull out in the dark. We packed.
Oh wow, that was one of the longest days ever.
That was the longest night of my life.
Oh wow.
That was to date. That is for sure the most stressful pack out we've ever had. Not stressful.
I would say the most strenuous.
Taxing, strenuous, taxing, whatever you want to call it.
Holy cow, yeah. I'm
2 a.m. We were finally hitting the bed. Like
last load off the mountain. I took a picture of it where we had the bull in the in my backpack.
I saw a video of you packing down with it too.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I've got a video. You never showed me that.
Oh,
that would have been awesome.
I guess I'll send that to you.
Golly jeepers.
Golly jeepers.
Sounds cool, man.
That sounds rad.
But no, I've got photos of me coming down the last load. It was 12:45.
Yeah.
I was late, dude.
And we joked. We were like, "Oh yeah, dude, we're gonna go back and cook some back straps." And blah blah blah.
Yeah, right.
There was
right when we were cutting it, we're over here gutting it, skinning it, and
there was
quartering
none
them.
of that.
We're like, oh, we're gonna have some back straps tonight. Woo, yeah, and 12:30, 12:40, our last load. We're driving home. Driving back to the camp. I look over. You're knotted out, man. You're gone. And I was like, I don't think we're doing back straps tonight.
Right. Yeah.
But that was a heck of a day. But yeah, we've done a lot of night pack outs, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, so both my bucks and your bull, we're all night pack out. So
it was nice doing the daytime one with yours with your bull.
That was in the morning too.
That was so awesome. We
still had the rest of the day.
Done by 11 o'clock. Like, oh yeah, this is awesome. What is this?
Right?
Let's do this more often, man. Holy cow.
I shot him at 7:30, I think.
Yeah, it was about 7:30 and we were done 11:30.
Jeez. Well, we had Loke too.
Yeah, that was the day we met Loke. That was cool.
Heck yeah. Shout out to Loke for helping me pack out that bull and for finding it. That was cool. Yep. Bull's over here. Like, what in the world? Like, you just stick a bull, double lung him. He runs off in the woods and then hears a voice. Bull's over here.
Some random dude,
What in the world?
And he helped pack out quarters
Pack
and
it out
and
everything.
Awesome.
Heck yeah, that was awesome. But that's hunter camaraderie right there, man.
Yeah, you don't see that much often, which is cool.
You don't. Usually you kind of see another hunter and you're like,
what are you doing over here?
What are you doing in my spot?
You ever seen any animals? No.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen nothing here for years. But you're hunting it.
That's right.
Come on, man.
So yeah, making sure you have ample supplies for being in the dark. Sometimes you might very well be tracking late into the night. Me personally, and I'm saying this right now, but there may be a day where I'm wrong, but I'll never leave something overnight. I know some people will leave a bull overnight and come back and get it in the morning. I won't, because I know coyotes will destroy it typically. So
yeah, I've heard tall tales, and I don't know. I mean, they might not be tall tales, but you drape your animal with your clothes or whatever, and it scares them off. I don't know, but I don't know.
I'd rather be super tired and. I mean, we take Dark Mountain pre-workout. I'd rather pound some pre-workout and just crank it out.
Just
late
get it done,
Yeah. So, making sure you have a backup phone battery. I have one of those chargeable phone banks or whatever you want to call it that you can plug a USB
the battery
phone
banks.
into. Yeah, battery bank. Make sure I always carry one of those on me.
Good thing you do, because I don't.
Right? Well, good thing mine will charge like 4 or 5 iPhones.
Yeah, I've used yours plenty of times.
So obviously a headlamp. I still pack an extra flashlight, and then I always pack a handful of batteries.
Yeah, so
enough to have like 3 or 4 changes.
I've at least got my handheld flashlight and then the headlamp.
Yeah.
Which I need to get a new headlamp too, because that one I noticed.
Dude, I love the one.
The one that I've got, that when it's in my backpack, sometimes it randomly just turns on and it'll drain my battery. By the time I need it, it's dead.
Happened. When did that happen? That happened to us one time.
Yeah, and I was like, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this ain't cool.
Yeah.
But that's why, luckily, if you have your battery bank for your phone, you use a flashlight on your phone or something, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever batteries it is, I think my headlamp takes AAA's. I always have like enough for 3 or 4 changes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, So, and definitely always want to consider asking a friend to be on standby for you. Make sure that they have your location and stuff and know how to get to you. It also doubles up, obviously, as a safety feature, but just in case you want the extra help, then you've got somebody to be there for you. So you've come out for all of my stuff.
Yeah.
Both my bucks. You're out there in a heartbeat.
Quick. Good as I could be.
Darn quick, too. You got there and I was like, look at my watch.
The first time, yeah, you're like, dude.
Like, dang, man. You're like, what are you doing, 110?
Dang near, dude. I almost flew off that freeway, man. I'm like, yeah. He said it got a bike down. I was up there, man. Heck yeah.
Was that the first one in August?
That was the first one, yeah,
okay.
in August. And then the second one, I was like, don't even lie to me, man. Like, come on.
You didn't believe me at first,
Yeah, I didn't believe you.
I texted you, I was
You're
like,
like,
dude, I just shot a buck.
Yeah.
Bro, don't even lie to me.
Yeah, dude, don't even lie to me, bro.
Like, no, dude, I swear to God.
Yeah.
What was it that made you not believe? Was it because it was the last day?
Well, because the day, or because the
out
weekend before during a hunt, you missed that two bucks. I was like,
yeah,
don't even lie,
twice.
bro. No, I don't even want. I'm not even going up there unless if I see blood. That's why I even sent that text. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going unless you see blood. And then you're like, there's blood on the ground. I was like, all right.
And I sent you a picture of splatter.
I'm like, dang it. All right, now I'm going.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Good times, man.
Hey, I was courteous that day. I actually brought some beer to
Heck
celebrate.
yeah. Make sure whoever you have as backup to come out and help you also brings a celebratory beer with them too, because that was awesome, man.
That's like code, okay?
That is code. That was so cool. You're like, hey, I got the most important thing. That was super cool.
That was awesome. That was so perfect.
That was very refreshing too. Yeah. Take an ample amount of arrows with you.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that you should be carrying at least more than 3 arrows at all times.
You have tight spots if you...
usually 5.
Yeah, tight spots have 5, which is, I think, pretty much perfect.
That's what we're both running is tight spot quivers.
Yeah, tight spots quiver. I think tight spot even has a 3 or 4 arrow quiver if you're really minimalist.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you're trying to sit in the blind or something like that, maybe it might be worth it, but...
Yeah. Well, and for the reason why I put this down is because the last buck, I had a pretty marginal shot on him. It was definitely not, it wasn't double long and it wasn't heart, but it was lethal still. But
Right.
It was to the point of where when I found him, he wasn't mobile, but he was still alive. And so I had to put a couple more in him just to finish him
Well, that was
off.
like my bull where I shot him in the liver.
Yeah, you put what? How,
I almost dang near cleared the whole quiver out.
4 or 5 arrows in him?
Yeah, I put, well, obviously he had
But
one
your
in the
bull
liver.
was just a tank, man.
Dude, he did not want to get, Frank the Tank, dude, he did
Yeah.
not want to give up.
He did not.
And,
some of them just have that will to just keep going.
And, yeah, he had the one in the liver, so that was one. And then I finally found him, and he was just laying down, and so I tried sneaking up into him a little bit, and I couldn't get a shot. He was in these high reeds.
Mm-hmm.
I just could not get a shot, and so I was trying. I thought, all right, I'm just gonna let another one go, and put one, and it went right in his spine.
Okay.
So that was probably a pretty good one because he wouldn't get up and move.
Wasn't moving or wasn't
Right.
running off,
It
right?
just paralyzed. Yeah, better than him getting up and running off
Sure.
and paralyzing. But it made him start turning, twisting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh shoot, I better put another one. So I put another one, and that one I think is the one where it ended up going through like a lung.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was just did not want to give up, man.
Because I gave you some of my arrows after that.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I'm out of arrows. I was like, oh crap.
Because I was running the 4 arrow tight spot. That was the one I had.
Oh, okay.
Or no, it was either a 4 or 3. I don't remember what it was, but
But yeah.
no, it was a Matthews quiver that I ran with 4 arrows in it.
Okay.
And so I finally used that last one, and I was like, all right, hurry up, I'm done,
Yeah.
And he expired right then, but still, I was like, all right, well, you got another arrow? Like, let's walk up, make sure, just make sure he's done, and
Yep.
we didn't have to put another one, but still.
Yeah. But as hunters, obviously, we want to do the humane thing.
And put him out as quick as we can,
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why, for me, when I saw him keep moving, I was like, I just wanted to get him down as soon as I could, so.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, make sure you have ample amount of arrows. I recommend at least 5. I think more than that might be a little overkill, but I say 5 is about the perfect balance.
Yeah.
And that's what most quivers come with.
Especially now with these, hybrids and mechanicals and all that, those things put a freaking hole.
Yeah. You're telling me.
Hole.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Speaking of hybrids and mechanicals and stuff, so we just, I guess you were kind of already using some of those.
So I was using kind of a hybrid, I guess. And it was from Muzzy. Mm-hmm. It was a Muzzy Trocar HB. It's their Muzzy Trocar hybrid, right? And so they have 2 fixed blades, and then they have 2 mechanical blades that come out. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really cool, like really cool design. It's like, wow, why isn't many more people doing that, And so they're really cool. I liked them, but they did seem really chintzy.
Okay.
And I remember pulling out one of my arrows one time, and I saw that one of my fixed blades was already gone, like it was missing out of the broadhead. Mm-hmm. I was like, huh. So that's kind of like a bummer, obviously, but
yeah.
And then I saw those afflictor ones. I was like, dang, these are pretty sweet, because you were always shooting afflictor. I was like, I gotta try these out. Mm-hmm. And those are bomb. Those are money.
So I was hung up on the fixed blades at first, and originally I was shooting a 3-fletched arrow.
Right.
And with the 3-fletched arrow, I had the fixed blades tuned to the fletching, which works out phenomenally. And I love those fixed blades for a 3-fletched, but now I'm shooting a 4-fletched, and I need something that is more like a field point, because if I shoot a fixed blade now with the 4-fletched, they both try to drive the arrow, and it ends up like really wonky flight, basically. And I mean, you saw I shot at a coyote at 40 and missed twice, and then we went and shot at the target and ended up finding a couple arrows that were better, and then I shot some of yours, and all of a sudden I was like drilling like a piece of duct tape, like a 2-inch piece of duct tape. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm shooting mechanical now. So now I've switched over to mechanical. I'm shooting.
Do you think you'll ever go back?
No, I will not. No.
No.
Maybe if I have a 3-fletched, I might. Yeah.
But even with the size of a hole that those are putting out, man.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, look, I've got 3 big game animals too with fixed blades. So yeah, I think I like
definitely. I'm sold.
Yeah. Well, I like the K2s still. The K2s are really good.
Yeah.
I'll probably shoot those with my backup bow and have which are 3-fletched arrows anyways. So I'll probably put the K2s on there, and then my main bow, which is 4-fletched, I'll probably shoot those K2 EXT.
I think they're K2
EXT hybrids or something.
EXT wide cut.
That's what it is. Wide cut, yeah.
It's like, like this,
right?
But yeah, I think it's the Afflictor K2 EXT wide cut hybrids. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were formerly known as the RAS series.
RAS series.
So
yeah, make sure you guys check out Afflictor. If you look at my Instagram too, you'll see some of the pictures that I posted recently of Jake's Oryx and my Access and the what a destruction that they do to an animal.
Right.
We compared them to, what was the other one? Rage Trypan?
Yeah. So a lot of the people at the hunt camp there
like those rages.
Were using the rages, and they were like sold on rage, and then they saw the hole that went through the Oryx. It's like one of them was like, "That was a rage, huh?" I'm like, no,
nope.
No. That was it's like, wow, I really like these,
Yep.
So
they do a number, that's for sure.
Yeah, I am thoroughly very impressed and pleased with what they've done.
Heck yeah. All right, so you want to get into it? Texas.
Tejas. If you guys haven't already, we just put out a video.
Mm-hmm. Ranchero.
But yeah, and that was, I mean, awesome. I don't know how.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, pause the podcast and go watch on our YouTube channel. Type in Bowhunting AZ on YouTube and just go watch Ranchero. And then that'll kind of catch you up to speed and give you an idea of everything we're going to talk about here.
Yeah.
So we had an opportunity to go out to the Tom Miranda bow hunting camp.
Lazy CK
At
Ranch.
the Lazy CK Ranch. The Lazy CK Ranch is the largest ranch in Texas, 7,000 acres, and basically 12 square miles of just exotic hunting. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I kind of, I've said this before to a couple other people too, but I kind of went in with preconceived notions of what hunting a high fence ranch was going to be like.
Right, I think a lot of people
just
do.
being blatantly honest. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people do. Yeah, you think I'm gonna go
shooting
in a ranch.
fish in a barrel.
Yeah, I'm pigs in a pen,
Yeah.
And
well, there were pigs in a pen.
You're not building my case here.
But yeah, you kind of go in with those preconceived notions that it's going to be something super simple.
Right.
We found out pretty darn quick it was anything but that.
Yeah, it was tough hunting.
Jason Miller put it perfectly, man. If you guys haven't listened to the last podcast, Jason Miller said that's really no different than hunting deer on their home range.
And realistically, a lot of that whitetail, they are native. That was I was talking with the guy there.
There's a huge native whitetail population.
Yeah, and I was talking with the guy there, and he was like, "Yeah, all on this side of the ranch is all native whitetails. None of them were introduced or any of that. They're all native." And so we're driving around, and I'm like, "Dude, there's a lot of whitetails in here." And I was like, and it sucks because like every stock you try and make,
there's a whitetail doe.
It's like, oh, like
blowing left and right.
And my finger, my little arrow trigger, or my trigger fingers over here itching, man. Like, I'm gonna release this thing. If you bow, and then there it goes. Boom.
I want to go back in the fall just to hunt does, just to slaughter some does, because there's so many that need to die.
The guide or somebody was like, I'm just gonna put or maybe it was you. Somebody was like, I'm just gonna bring some white out and put dots on them.
Oh yeah,
shoot a whitetail doe.
Spray paint. I'm gonna come out here with spray paint and spray some white on them so they can look like axis doves.
So I can let them go.
Start wasting them.
But that was, I think, a very, very, I don't know, insightful experience, I guess, is kind of the word. I don't know. Really great training in how to.
It really is. It's like a training camp.
Yeah, I think so, honestly, and how to create a great stock on an animal and just in practicing. I mean, because you have so many opportunities of doing it. And that's the thing. I mean, there is animals there. They're there. I mean, that's the one.
That's the only thing.
The only advantage of it, I would say, yes, is they're going to be there. It's not like they just wandered off and they're not in their property anymore. But still, trying to find them again, obviously, because it's thick. I mean, it is super thick.
That's like, it's literally, I would compare it to the bear country. Some of it to the bear country that we saw, as thick as bear country.
And so it's like, good luck trying to, there's not really many high spots, so you can't really get an advantage in trying to spot.
Yeah, you're not glassing. I think we glassed maybe one time. And there was like a little bit of a rise, and we were kind of like, what's over there? And we were like on top of the side-by-side. But that was it. I mean, other than that, you're not really using your binoculars.
Yeah, and so it's like literally, like it is the challenge of just pushing yourself for trying to become a better hunter, I think, because if it's not the terrain, it's the other animals that are there that are trying to blow your stock at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have had a black buck like day 2 if it wasn't for the white-tailed does, man.
And I'm still kicking myself in the foot. I had a black buck doe during my first stock attempt on these oryx.
Oh, okay.
And we had whitetails surrounding us, right?
Yeah.
And we were about ready to cross this creek. And so we're about ready to cross this creek, and all of a sudden I'm walking up, and Chris, my guide, he was like, all right, I'm going to let you walk first and put an arrow in, knocked and ready. All right. So I'm starting to walk in, and he's still behind me, probably about 20 yards. And all of a sudden I like come right around this little bush, and there's a whitetail just like dead on, Yeah. And so I'm just like, just trying to hold as steady as I can. And then my other arm behind the bush. I'm like just like going like stop to Chris, you know.
Yep.
And then we finally just back out and we just skirt around this doe, and then all of a sudden there's another white-tailed doe to our right, and you're like, oh, you know, so we're just waiting, and meanwhile the oryx are just still grazing and moving on, and we're like, well, we got to get there, and there's these does right here, but they're not letting us go, and it was just like, geez. Then we're getting closer, and all of a sudden 3 little black buck does start just walking right towards us. Our wind was perfect, but these does started walking right towards us, and it's like, I could have shot this black buck doe probably like 15 to 20 yards. And I should have, in hindsight, because I tried the whole rest of my hunt after I got the oryx to try and do the same thing, and it was tough.
Yeah,
really, really tough.
And that's like the black buck that I passed on. Like you saw that footage afterwards. You're like, dude, you didn't shoot that? And I was like, well, no, I thought they would be bigger. So I was like, dude, I would have, 18 yards. I've got a black buck, and what's cool too is he was different than all the others because he had all 3 colors. Yeah. So typically a black buck for those who don't know is like an antelope with spiraled horns. Yeah. And
they're pretty, I would say they're probably pretty darn close to the size of a pronghorn. Maybe a little bit smaller, but
yeah, I'd say pretty close. Yeah.
I don't think they're that much smaller.
I don't think they're that different really. No.
Yeah. They actually kind of have like almost the same.
Their eyesight's for damn sure the same. Like
but they almost have the same color.
They peg you.
They almost have kind of like the does at least. Have that same like beigeish color as a pronghorn.
Yeah. So the does are about that same exact colors.
Maybe a little bit lighter, but yeah. With the white still, they still have that white and everything.
Yep. And so the bucks will change though. So the dominant or like the herd bull or like the herd buck, if you want to call it,
when that testosterone kicks in and everything.
They get black and they look like literally like a tuxedo. Like they call him a tuxedo buck. And so he'll get black and on top and white on the bottom. And then if he's not dominant, he'll be the same color almost as the does, maybe a little darker, but like a tan. Yeah. Just basically same as an antelope. Much.
If he gets knocked on his butt, you know, and he got just
not dominant anymore.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, well, this guy's bigger and better than me, and I'm just out. So then they'll end up just staying kind of that
tannish color.
Yeah, that tannish grayish, I would say, kind of. Yeah.
So this one he had. I'm trying to think. Was it tan on top? Black stripe in the middle and then white on the bottom. He had all 3 colors.
He was like grayish a little bit on some of it too. I saw, but it was pretty black
very
in the
unique. But I asked my guide because he came in and he was at 18 yards in front of our blind. Yeah,
I don't know how you did,
dude. It was at first I was like, oh sweet, like I'm gonna smoke this thing, like cool. And I guess Chris was saying he's there every single day. He's like, oh yeah, was it 2:30? Yeah, he's there right now. I guarantee it. And so. But yeah, I asked my guy, I leaned over and I was like, how is he? Like, is he good? Like, is he, I mean, we're at this ranch. I want to shoot something that's going to be a trophy because I know they have obviously trophy quality.
Right.
And so he's like, yeah, like he's okay. He's like, he's probably 16 inches, He's like, I know we have 18 to 20s though. Like, he's like, there's bigger ones out there. He's like, I think it was day 2, I believe. Pretty sure.
Maybe. Day 2 was the day I got mine, so maybe it was day 2 or day 3.
Okay. And so he's like, you got a couple more days to hunt. He's like, you might want to wait. Like, you're going to have some other stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I passed, with confidence. And, now in hindsight, I don't know.
No, that was day 2.
I can't say in hindsight that I wish I would have shot him because I'm darn happy with what I shot.
Right.
So I don't know. But yeah, it was for sure a decision that made me second guess myself later.
Right.
Definitely. But yeah, so I passed on that. And then you got your oryx that day. You want to tell that story?
The second day, it was, so,
Day one, hold on. Let me set it up. Day 1, we got there. Basically nothing happened. We sat the evening and we didn't see
Day 1.
We saw Sika deer, but that was it.
Yeah, it was a Sika deer, I guess. Or
Sika.
What he had a weird name for him. I'm trying to think of what. Lebowski.
Lebowski?
Like the Big Lebowski or something,
What?
Yeah, it's called a Lebowski Sika.
All right.
That's what he called. That's what they called it. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, I saw that and they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of whitetail.
Right. And whitetail are out of season though. You can't shoot those.
Yeah.
They're off. Those and turkeys are off the books.
Yeah.
We saw a ton of turkeys.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of turkey too.
But so that was day 1. Nothing really happened.
Well, yeah. So day 1, it just hammered rain.
Day 2, I
Day
passed
2,
on my black buck, and then you have your story.
Yeah, day 2 that morning, we get there and it's just pouring rain.
It was
hammering, and we're like,
even in
supposedly
Arizona with
it was
our monsoons, I've never seen it rain like that.
supposedly it was supposed to let up that day. Like Chris was like, oh, it's gonna let up the rain, it's gonna be okay. Around 8 is what we were like thinking, and it was like 9:30, 10, or like still raining. We're like, dang, And so we're sitting in this side by side buggy, and we're just driving around, and I'm just talking to Chris. I was like, hey, what about an oryx? And I was like, what? You guys have oryx here, right? Scimitar oryx? She's like, oh yeah. Let's go try and find some oryx, And for anybody that doesn't know what scimitar oryx is, they're from Chad, Africa, okay? Northern part of Africa. And they're this bright white with like a reddish tan color, beautiful, beautiful animals. Mm-hmm. The males, come to find out, so the males and the females, they both grow horns. But the males, you can tell because they have a black stripe on their eye, okay? And so that's kind of the big difference and giveaway. But anyways, they're pretty easy to spot, honestly. If you because they like the open areas, right? And they're bright white. So I mean, if you see something bright white, it's kind of fairly easy. But trying to put a stack on them is a whole nother game.
Yeah.
They are just as skittish. They're a type of antelope, so they're pretty skittish and they're super fast. I mean, they're fast. But
yeah.
So anyways, we start driving into this area where he says, yeah, I've seen them in here before. It's just kind of their hangout. And so we get in and we start trying to make a move. Wind was perfect. This is when I was telling you that whitetail and then whitetail surrounding us and that black buck doe was coming in. And so we finally escape all that, and we're just like the oryx and us now, like 80 yards. We're like, all right, let's just try and keep moving in. And so I seen them moving behind this bush, and we're just moving in, trying to get in closer. And all of a sudden, they should be behind this bush. And I'm just like, I got my bow in my hand ready. I mean, I'm like ready to draw as soon as I get around this corner of this bush. And they're not there. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What kind of Houdini stuff is this here, And I'm looking at Chris, and then he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. They should have been there, I was like, what the heck? And all of a sudden we hear noise, and we were like, what the heck is that? And he's like, that's got to be the oryx. It was like a weird grunt. I don't know how to explain it. It was so weird. So then we start walking up, and once again, they're bright white. So like you can see them in a distance, right?
Yeah.
So there's this huge bush that's buffering us in the oryx, okay? And so all of a sudden, I'm going to start rounding this huge bush, and as I'm rounding it, I see oryx bedded down. And they're bedded on the other side of this bush with not even maybe 20 yards. So we're just standing there. I'm whispering to Chris. I'm like, hey, they're right there, right there. And he's like, yeah, we're really close. I was like, yeah, we're close. He's like, yeah, like we're really close. And I was like, fist pumping him. He was like, yeah, we're here. I was like, all right, well, now what do we do? Like, come on, take it. Like
it's going down. So
we're standing there, and it was probably at least 15 minutes of just standing and kneeling down right on this bush, like waiting for him to happen. And so we're just like, well, I guess we'll just wait it out, let's just wait and see what they do. Like they're bedded right there, probably 20, 15 yards. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, we'll wait it. And so Chris is like, well, I'm gonna text Will. He's like, I'm gonna text Will, have him drive by this road that's behind us, because there's another road just past these oryx.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll text him, and he'll drive by, and hopefully they'll get him to stand up.
There you go.
Right.
Yep.
All of a sudden, probably about 10 minutes later, we hear this this vehicle driving by. I'm like, oh yes, this is Will. Like perfect, you know. This is Will. He's gonna drive by. We just scare him. So as soon as we started seeing somebody drive by, we thought it was a different vehicle. So we're thinking, oh, this is somebody else. Wait, hold on. And they were using a rifle. And we're thinking, whoa, we're in between the animals and them with the rifle. They don't know we're here. Oh, this could go bad, you know? And so I'm in my mind right there, I start getting stand up and I'm starting to just like eagerly go around this bush. I had the arrow in my bow and my hand on the trigger ready to pull back and draw. And they took off and then they come back around, right? Come back around and they're paused. And they're just looking there at these animals. So that's when I get out and just start to creep around the bush. And one of them looks at me. And so I just draw full draw. And I see the one behind is even bigger. So I try stepping even closer to get into the bigger one. And they just take off. And I'm like, dang it, I'm holding on. And they're just booking it. You know, dang, we're there 12 yards, you know. 12 yards, we had them. And I was just like cheering on with Chris. I was like, dude, we just got 12 yards of oryx. Like, how cool is that? He's like, we've never done that. That's crazy, you know? I was like, yes, us boys from Arizona can put in a stock, you know? It's like, I remember specifically telling him that. I was like, us guys from Arizona, we could throw down a stock, huh? You know, we could put in some stocks.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the closest I've ever been to an oryx. I was like, yeah.
Sure. So typically, when you hunt at some of these ranches, very often you're going to be sitting blinds, tree stands, stuff like that. So for us, we really told our guides, like, dude, we want a spot in stock. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah, and the big bonus to that was, one, there was so much rain. So the ground was wet and moist and perfect for stalking.
Oh, you could walk anywhere and it was dead quiet.
Yeah, it was dead quiet. And that was the challenge. I think that's the fun challenge of it, is always trying to get in and beat the animal. You know, that's the challenge of the stock. You always want to outsmart and outwit the animal. And in retrospect, the other reason why was every blind that at least I sat just got riddled with whitetail. And I think the only one time that there was any other animals than whitetail or turkey was that SKRE deer. Yeah. And that was it. Every other animal was whitetail or turkey, and neither of those were in season. So we're just like, well, let's just keep trying our luck and doing these stalks, you know. And so that's what happened. But back to that oryx story. I thought it was somebody that was going to be in that Jeep that had a rifle tag.
Yeah.
We get back to camp for lunch. I see you in the lobby, and I didn't see your buggy because you guys were riding a buggy, right?
Yeah, at first.
And then I find out your buggy took a dump. Yeah, it broke, and then you took the Jeep, which was supposed to be somebody with the rifle. Yeah, and come to find out you're the one that blew the stock.
And I videoed the whole thing and didn't even know it. I was like, oh hey. I told my guide, I was like, dude, there's some oryx. Let me get some sick B-roll. And so we're like parking in the middle of the road, and I'm like sitting there with my camcorder filming these oryx out in the open, not knowing that you're literally 12 yards behind them in the bush.
So me and Chris were like, the whole time we're like, oh, dude, we're gonna have it with Mr.
Zach.
Mr. Zach, yeah. We're like, oh, we're gonna let Zach know. We're like, come on, like he just ruined our stock, you know. And then come to find out it's you guys, like, oh my god.
You had just got done doing an epic stock too on Axis, like an epic.
Dude, 12 yards with oryx. I don't think you get more.
And you know what? This whole story has made my chigger bites itch even worse. I'm literally itching. So if you go to Texas, I mean, heck, we have them here in Arizona, but chiggers are rampant,
and they're real.
And they're real. Yeah, they're real.
They are real.
I mean, we had probably at least several dozen bites, if not more.
But dude, I remember getting back to that lobby in the lunch and just you know, and it was still cool because it was like that was the first full day of hunting, right?
Right.
And we just successfully got this stock on these orcs at 12 yards.
Heck yeah.
We're like, this is the way this thing's gonna do. I'm so pumped, you know.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, this is awesome. And then I'll come to find out. You're the one that videotaped the whole thing, and they skirted off. I was like, dang,
my bad.
Yeah, but
yep. Nope. Dude, that was the day that we saw like the freaking King Kong of pigs, though.
Oh yeah,
dude, that hog was so big, and what's crazy too is he was tucked in the tiniest little bush, like the tiniest little bush. And he just freaking leaped out of it, and I swear to God, when he hit the ground, it like shook the ground, man. But like, no kidding, his shoulders were at least the height of the buggy, like where the doors came up to. Yeah, that's what Andre goes, dude, that's the biggest freaking pig I've ever seen on this ranch. And he was showing me his footprints, and they were like way indented into the ground. And it's crazy because you have this giant hog, and you think hogs are kind of clumsy and fat and this and that. Dude, they're fast, they're agile, and they're fast. They're fast, and it was like, holy cow, like I can't believe that thing ran that quick.
Yeah, they are fast, and they're aggressive too. If they're, I mean, they're mean.
Yeah, that was crazy. But that was a cool experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that, I don't know if it was that night or the following night, but Chris was like, "Yeah, you want to go hunt some hogs?" He's like, "I got my dog. His dog's name's Cooter, by the way. How awesome is that? How much more Texan can you get than that? Kind of Cooter. Come here, Cooter." But yeah, he was like, "Yeah." But the only stipulation is you can't shoot it. Can't shoot it with your bow, or you can't shoot it with your gun.
Oh, yeah, you have to stab it.
You have to kill it with a knife. And I said, don't matter how many drinks I have, I am not going to do that.
I'd do that.
Oh, dude, you're crazy.
I do that in Harvey.
He's like, no, dude, it's really easy. It's pretty fun, too, man. It's so easy. They're so focused on the dogs. Like, they don't care. Dude. It doesn't matter how many drinks I have, I am not doing that.
You can get more American than that. That's some American stuff right there, boy. If you want to go out and stab a hog with a knife, yee.
Dude, I will let you do that. I would gladly videotape it
I'll
for
do
you.
It, yeah.
I'll gladly videotape it so you can have it.
I'll do it.
No thanks.
Yeah. So you ended up.
So anyways, after lunch, we made it quick too. We made it like quick lunch, and we're like, "Hey, dude, you want to just get right back out there and go?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, you guys left before anybody else. You were gone.
Yeah, we were
you
gone.
Pretty much ate and left.
And so we were just trying to get back on these orcs again. We're looking. Finally, we're driving back to another area, and we ended up meeting Will, one of the other guides driving by, and he was like, "Hey, we just seen a whole bunch of orcs. We might end up trying to go." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And like, that's where we're trying to go after orcs. He's like, "Oh, well then, yeah, they're over there near this tank, man. You better go now because they're about to hit the water tank."
Yeah, I think that was where we saw my black buck that morning too.
I think
because we ended up spotting them there later. Remember?
Yeah. I think it was that same where it's like that blind was like way up high in the
more like the treehouse blind.
Yeah, but it was like way up there, right?
Yeah, it was the tallest blind.
Yeah, that's where it was.
So that's the same area that I shot my axes. I mean,
and so before we even pull up, yeah, what?
What?
You're talking about? Before we get there to the blind and everything, they're already like 100 yards to the blind.
Yeah,
like it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna be able to get to the blind. We're gonna have to stalk it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, that's like all wholesome, like all like
twist my arm,
right? like that's the way to do it, you know? And like full circle. So we're like, all right, let's just do it. Let's, and so we started stalking in, walking in, and before you know it, they went once again. I mean, that day, throughout that whole day, the wind was just perfect. Mm-hmm. Like every stalk for me that day was just like, holy cow. Like it could not get any better.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we get in close enough, and I think like what we were just talking about earlier with just like so much adrenaline going in your mind. Like for me, in my head, it's like I got this like exotic animal, once in a lifetime opportunity hunt. Like huge bull oryx, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're walking up and I'm just like shaking like crazy, man. I'm just, you know? Oh, like just, and so anyways, I'm getting ready to aim and just like, you're forcing it at that point, which I shouldn't have done it, but you know what, I did. And I remember them specifically telling me shoot forward.
They did tell us, yeah.
Everybody was saying all these exotic animals from these African animals or exotic animals, their vitals are more forward. It's like where you would shoot a whitetail or an elk, that's going to be too far back. You want to drill them on the shoulder. And so I was like, in my head, I was like, all right, well, they want me to go forward, so I'm going to shoot forward.
Oh, you went forward.
And so I'm shooting, I'm like aiming, and I'm shaking. I got this like once in a lifetime oryx right in front of me, just got his cows in front of him, herding them, you know, it's just a giant. And I just let one go and it missed. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And then so I look back at Chris and I see him and he's looking, you know, he's like, what happened? And I was like, I missed in front of him. I missed. And then I was like, well, they didn't really scurry off very far, like at all.
Yeah.
So like, I better put another arrow in real quick. So I put another arrow in and then just start scooting up a little bit more. And all of a sudden they're right there just grazing again. And so I was like, well, that's when I like in my head, I was just like, all right, I need to focus a little bit more, breathe, you know, and he was coming and walking towards me a little bit, quartering to me a little bit. I wouldn't say that's my excuse for still shooting a little bit forward, but it did the job.
Hey, it worked.
But still, I shot a little bit forward, but still drilled him, and I would say probably 250 yards, 300 yards. He was down.
Yeah.
And right after that shot, I was just like so livid, jumping up in the air. You know,
you were.
Oh yeah, I was over there like high fiving up in the air, jumping like little kids in the playground, man. I mean, like skipping back to the freaking buggy because like we just got it done.
Yeah,
we just got it done. You know.
Well, other than your bull, that's your first big game kill. Well, not first, but your only other big game kill with a bow.
With a bow, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and
that's awesome.
What a way to do it, man. I mean, that was awesome. And so we're just like, well, let's give it 30 minutes. We'll go back to we'll go back to the ranch, you know. Let's grab a beer, hang out. Let's go get the dog. He was gonna, you know, and so his dog, his dog's awesome. Dog Cooter. But he's a hog dog, I mean blood tracking dog, everything. And so he brought him out, tracked him, and it was easy work from there, man. Yeah. And we're back to the lodge like 5:30, and I specifically remember him as like, anybody got their got their walkie on?
He was bragging.
Yeah, he's like, anybody got it on? And then I remember Will saying, yeah, go ahead. We're heading back to the lodge with an oryx. We got one down.
Which I thought was weird because like nobody ever announced that they got anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody else did except you guys, and that's why I was like, you guys are awesome.
Well, you know what we did is we pulled up to you. We pulled up next to you with our our buggy, and we're like, "What's up?" And then you like kind of looked over and you looked in the back, and you're like,
Well, we saw you guys because we saw you guys leaving, and we're like, all right, we're gonna beat him to the gate, so he has to wait for the gate to close. You know? And so we did, and then we're like, and you're like, wait, and I was like, what? And we look back. Oh, you got it done, dude. Heck yeah.
So I'll tell my story. Typical me came in clutch. Last day of hunting before we left. Went out that morning. I had already had like numerous stalks. I mean, I had stalked a black buck, you know, sub 60 yards, and whitetail does blew it out. Passed on that black buck that came in at 18.
I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. And then, put another couple stalks on black bucks and some other opportunities that we had. And finally went out the next morning, returned to that like treehouse blind or whatever. And as we're sitting there, I want to say it was probably like 8:30, 9 o'clock. We saw a broken black buck come in.
Yeah, so that morning,
come in anyways.
That morning, we were asking, like, we're like, all right, where are you guys going? Where are you guys going? Mm-hmm. We're asking everybody. Like, I was so curious of where everybody was going all the time. And then the guide even is like, dude, you know more about this ranch than some of the guides do. It's like, yeah, I always like to know where things are, you know? And so he was like, dude, you know more than anybody else, any other guide or a hunter that I know. But anyways, yeah, so you were planning on sitting that whole thing that morning. And that's why when you guys finally radioed in, you're like, all right, we're leaving the whitetail blind. It's like, they're just leaving the white. Like, dude, that is the longest freaking sit in the morning. Holy cow. Mm-hmm. And come to find out, obviously, that wasn't the case, but.
So we saw this broken black buck start to come in to the blind. And all of a sudden, like, he hung up. And we're like, that's kind of weird. Like, why did he hang up? So he kind of turned and he started to make like a perimeter around the blind. Mm-hmm. And actually, I take that back. We even had one underneath us that morning. Oh, wow. And all of a sudden we heard, and he like blew out. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because he looked out, my guide looked out and like cracked the blind back door a little bit. And he's like, black buck. Like, and he pointed down. So we did have that. But, this black buck comes in, walks the perimeter, never commits, and ends up, you're sitting in the blind and there's not much to do, especially if there's nothing in front of you, and whatnot, right in range. And so I'm sitting there.
A lot of boredom sitting in those blinds.
Yeah. Oh, you come up with all sorts of creative stuff to do. Dude. So I'm sitting there.
We were so enthused about this turkey that had a limp. We started calling him Mr. Michael Jackson. Like, it was just like the dumbest things, but it's like you're sitting in this blind, bored. I mean, just bored.
Right.
Until you get these bucks that start fighting. That was awesome. But
that was cool.
Like a little Muhammad Ali over there.
Each other. Yeah.
Little Tyson over there.
And so this black buck, I'm glassing him just out of boredom, and I watch him to go, and he just beds like in this tall grass, and all I can see is his antlers sticking out. And then, I'm watching him for a while. I'm like, well, that's cool. And I told my guide, I'm like, hey, like, cool. Right? I'm like, he's bedded over there. He's like, really? And then I saw the antlers all of a sudden kind of like jar. And what it was is he was dropping his head and fully going to sleep.
Going to bed.
And hitting his head on the ground, like or laying it down. And I was like, dude, he just passed out. I'm like,
let's go.
Okay. He's like, all right, well, let's wait about 30 minutes. I'm like, no, let's go. So we kind of waited a little bit, and then we did end up going. He's like, all right, let's get going. So we start stalking on our way over there. And
how far would you say he was from your guys' blind? How far of a stalk?
Man, I'm so bad with field judgment, but if I had to guess, I'd say like 300. 400.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Like it was a little ways. And enough that I was using my 12s to glass him with and see his antlers and stuff. The day before, I had, for the first time, glassed and seen up close and personal to nilgai.
Yeah.
And I was like...
You were like dead set after that. You're like, dude, I'm going to get a nilgai now.
Holy meat yield. Like, oh my big. God.
If you guys don't know what a nilgai is, Google that. Yeah. I mean,
and everyone at the table was like, dude, they taste looking. So good. Like,
they're
so
weird
good.
Looking, but
yeah, apparently they're the bee's knees as far as meat goes.
Yeah.
And so I asked the guy, I was like, hey, like, how much for a nilgai cow or whatever? And it, it worked out for me and made sense. I was like, cool. If I see one, like, none.
Yeah. I think, we were there. He was like, it's like the Frankenstein of animals. He's like, it's partially this, it's partially that. Nobody really knows what it is. It's just goofy looking, but it tastes really good.
Yep. So you're easily talking like a large female cow elk.
I would say bigger than that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe even like a bull elk, like a big bull.
I would say the nilgai is probably every bit of 700, 800 pounds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I had established that was top of the food chain for me. And I was like, we saw some on the way over there. So we're stalking this black buck that's down. And all of a sudden we see something kind of move in the bush. And my guide's like, nilgai. And I was like, dude, like screw the black buck. Like let's go. And they were like 70 yards.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so we kind of started trying to make position on them because we were already at 70, but unfortunately they were downwind of us.
Okay.
So he's like, dude, to be honest, they're downwind. They're kind of moving away from us. He's like, they move quick and that's very thick over there. We're just not going to catch them. It's just not going to happen. So like, okay, whatever. I was like, well,
and
cool.
you still know you got a black buck just nodded. Right?
Exactly. We've got this black buck over here, like dead asleep. Right. Like, let's go back to that. So we revert back to that. And literally 15 seconds after we started going back to our black buck stock, we hear this axis roar. And I'm like,
what a weird roar.
Very weird sound.
Right.
Yeah. Very, very unique sound. But I mean, I would compare it, not sound wise, but like to us as far as excitement, to an elk bugle. Like when you hear one, and especially when you're that close, it's like hearing an elk bugle, and you're like, "Ooh, hey!" Like,
yeah. And I didn't have that
cool
experience, but like for me, an elk bugle is like, like
so.
Especially when we were in the rut there, you're like, this
exactly. And we were there in the axis rut, like that was the axis we're running.
Yeah, and that was
And my guide taught me that the more times a axis buck roars, like sequentially, the bigger it is. Okay. So this guy goes and rips off. He's like 3 is a mature one. 4 is like a big buck. And this one did 5. So I was like, whoa. The most I ever heard was 6.
Okay.
So this one did 5. And I was like, whoa, hey. Like, what's up? Let's go this way. And so we start kind of going over there. And he looks at me and I looked at him and I was like, I gave him the head nod, like, yeah. Like, let's go. And we started kind of walking our way over there. And basically there was almost like a natural, and it wasn't on purpose, it was a natural hedge of trees that kind of made a crescent shape.
Okay.
And off in the distance, I see that tan body with white spots walking this crescent. And I'm like, oh, he's kind of following like the natural lay of the land. So he's walking like right towards us on a beeline. And so we just started following this natural crescent. And I don't know how to describe it other than at a certain point, you're like, this is happening. Like, this is going down right now.
Right.
And so I could see where he was going, and he was coming right through. And all I had was this like little tunnel, because it was like that canopy of trees again, And all I had was this little tunnel, and I was like, he's going to walk right across that. And my guide was kind of in front of me at about like my 1 or 2 o'clock position. He was probably about like 2 yards in front of me. And this buck was walking that crescent, and he walked right out into the opening of that tunnel. And he I think he might have seen some movement from my guide at first, because he did that curious like head bob. Okay. Even coos or mule deer or whatever will do it. They're kind of like, what is that? They kind of peek their head around or whatever. And so he did that, and he was focused on him. And so I just drew back real quick. And my guide, and I asked my guide, I was like, what's the range? And fortunately, my guide had the range finding binoculars, and he was watching him the whole time moving through his binoculars. And he goes, 60. And I was like, okay. And so my guide turns around and he's like, do you want to shoot him? And I was already like, literally as he turned around to look at me, I was already at full draw. I just go, poof. And so I was like, yeah.
No, I don't really want to. Can we take that one back?
Dude, this thing was huge. I looked at it and I was like, holy crap. I've only seen one other axis buck that was comparable to that size. And so yeah, they are.
He was a dandy.
He was a dandy.
that was the one thing where I think Jason's like, if anybody ever tells you your buck's a dandy, he's straight up telling you your buck's small. Okay. So yeah, one of the guys there and one of the other hunters, he was like, if somebody ever tells you that your buck's dandy, or that coat's really pretty.
That was the thing. Yeah. Oh, but the coat's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, the coat on it's so pretty.
The coat's so pretty.
Like
that means your buck's small.
That means your buck's pretty small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was funny though. What did he say when I brought mine up? He's like, dude, it looks like your buck birthed mine.
Yeah. That was hilarious, but
yeah. But yeah, it was cool, man. 60 yards. He was completely broadside. I did aim for his heart. It's true what they say about axis, man. They're fast. They're very fast.
Yeah. What I noticed, and I noticed it a couple times when we were just moseying along in the woods out there, but Chris was saying it one time too, because I saw this one buck. He was in velvet. He was still smaller. And by no means he was a good buck, but he was just still in velvet and had a lot of grow. But like I noticed him out of the corner of my eye because I saw the spots, and then I saw all the horns and everything. I was like, wait, what's that? And he's like, oh yeah, that's axis buck. I was like, and we were just literally standing there probably for like a good 40 seconds, and he was just pinned on us, right? Yeah. And he's like, he thinks he's invisible. And that was like no joke. He was like, yeah, axis bucks, like they'll literally, if they're in good coverage, and if you're at a standstill and they're at a standstill, they will literally stand there and just try and pretend like they're invisible.
That makes sense, because there was a time where I was maybe, it might have been 40, but I'm going to say 30 yards from an axis doe.
Right.
And have you ever seen how they would, because she was out in the open. And so fortunately, I was fortunate enough to see this in action. So she straight laid down and they go flat on the ground.
Yeah, they're trying
to.
They
will not run, which is weird. Most like coos deer, mule deer, they would bolt and be gone. Whereas axis will literally, they could be, in fact, we were 8 yards from one. That one that's jumped out of the bushes or whatever. Yeah. We were 8 yards, and then this one that I was able to physically see do the whole thing for the first time, 30 yards, she straight laid on the ground and they get super flat. And it's like the craziest thing. It's like, I can see you. Like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing? Yeah. But yeah, like I guess he was dead serious. He's like, yeah, he thinks he's invisible.
That's crazy.
I'm like, what? Like, really? Like, this buck's probably like he was probably 100 yards, but like, he's just standing there. It's like probably a good 40 seconds until we moved. Yeah. We finally moved, and then he just jolted. Yeah. But it was so weird. Another thing that I kept saying, mule deer and coos deer. He's like, oh, there's another coos deer, and my guy Chris was like, what? And I was like, oh, like because there's whitetails everywhere. I was like, oh, there's another mule deer. He's like he knew what I was talking about, but he was like, that's not a mule deer. It's not a coos deer. It's a whitetail. But it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was fun. So you harvested your oryx.
Yeah.
I harvested my axis. We both came home, brought them home in coolers, processed them. Takeaways from the ranch. High fence hunting is not everything that everyone automatically thinks it is.
No, but it is a awesome learning experience.
Yeah. If you want to go to a place and just, if your intent is to level up as a bow hunter,
while still having a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, obviously, other than going to these animals' native home countries, like, you're never going to hunt these anywhere else.
Right, and that was a big thing, like, with these scimitar oryx, was there's more of these animals in Texas than there is on their native land. Mm-hmm. And they just were reintroduced reopened to allow people to hunt in their native land, so... It's awesome, honestly, what they're doing, but it takes people to go out there and experience it and make them valuable to be able to have conservation and repopulate those two.
So you're saying because of the Texas, so the backstory is because of some of these Texas ranches, some of the animals have either seriously dwindled in their native homelands and or some of them have even become extinct, and they have been bred on these private ranches in Texas and then reintroduced back to their native homelands.
Yeah, so now some of these
so they can exist there again.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing was they went extinct in Chad, Africa, and so they were thriving out here, and so they had such a high population out here that they created a national wildlife refugee camp over there, and like a wildlife park over there.
Yep.
And they ended up buying some from these Texas ranches, and then to be able to bring them back to their natural habitat. And so that's cool. I mean,
yeah.
But it takes hunters to be able to do that.
Sure.
And so
if it wasn't for hunters here in America supporting the ranches wouldn't exist.
And therefore those oryx would not even be still around.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, and it's cool too. 'Cause, I mean, we got super high quality meat out of it.
Yeah.
But dude, Axis is bomb.
Yo, dude, oryx is bomb.
I'm sure. Yeah. You what was it you said you made?
I made some burgers out of it.
Oh,
I haven't even done much with it, but it was like, holy cow.
I haven't had the steaks yet, to be honest.
I haven't either. But
I'm kind of saving those couple packets that you gave me.
Of the oryx?
Yeah.
I've got plenty, so don't worry.
I'm gonna wait and hold those out.
I'm not gonna wait on my Axis because I know you got
dude,
some.
I've already started digging.
I'm just kidding.
I started digging in the Axis, man.
No, I haven't even touched yours, but I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. We made some burgers out of it, man. It was really good burgers.
Yeah, it was
Really good
phenomenal.
burgers.
So, yeah, I would say that's Texas, man.
Yeah. Make sure you go and check out the short film Ranchero. Kind of shows the whole thing and the story and all that. And unfortunately, my guide wasn't able to, because my shot went down so fast, like split second. So he wasn't able to capture that on footage. But we got Jake's at least. And got you shooting your oryx and stuff. And
I got my miss and I got my kill.
okay. It tells a good story, that's for darn sure.
I finally saw an armadillo.
We saw a lot of armadillo.
A lot.
A lot of smashed ones.
Armadillo. For people that are listening, you can comment. Is it an armadillo or is it an armadillo?
Armadillo.
Is it an armadillo or is it an armadillo? So let me know.
Yep. Before we started podcasting, I threw out some feelers out there just if anybody had questions or anything like that, comments, whatever. And one of the questions was, what is our early spring layering system for spring bear or just for early spring hunts?
Yeah, I'd go into that.
Yeah. So we have partnered with a company, SKRE Gear. Mm-hmm. And SKRE is out of Utah, and they really cater to Western hunting, but they're also into the Midwest and Eastern whitetail and turkey.
Yeah, actually, they've grown quite a bit into the whitetail community. So
we utilize their layering system for our early spring season, and it's for a very specific purpose. So obviously, and this is actually something that I really wanted to touch on, so let me spiel this out real quick before we jump into this. But when I originally started Bowhunting AZ, I had said, this is my story. I'm telling this as I grow and go along the way and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. As I'm maturing as a hunter, obviously I'm going to mature into some of the systems and stuff. I started with a very entry-level bow, and I've grown into a much higher quality bow now and stuff. So obviously I'm shooting the flagship bow now for PSE, the Mach 1. And I kind of grew out of my Drive X and stuff and leveled up as an archer and gained more experience and everything. Now as we're going, I started with mismatched camo. I started with clearance camo from Sportsman's. I have Sportsman's brand camo.
Yeah. And that's with anything. You progress as you go.
Absolutely.
And you're not gonna strive or you're not gonna get any better without progression, and that's just what's gonna happen.
Right. And so as I grew and matured as a hunter and stuff, I wanted to start investing in a camo brand that gave me functionality, but also was friendly to the price point as well. And so I ended up finding SKRE, and I started utilizing some of their systems, and it was a company that just really fell in line with what Bowhunting AZ was about. And so we've partnered with SKRE Gear because they don't drive that Sitka or First Light price tag, but they still offer super good quality. Mm-hmm. And they're competing with the big name guys. Absolutely. And so SKRE, for their early spring or just any early hunt layering system, I either wear the Kaibab 170 merino top.
Yeah, and I like the Wasatch.
Do you? Or the Wasatch is what you wear.
I like it because it's like a polyester shirt and it's super light. It's kind of loose fitting, which I enjoy. I think the merino is a little bit tighter.
The merino's more of like a fitted shirt. Yeah.
And I think it is supposed to be more of a base
something
layer.
along the lines of like an Under Armour or something like that. Almost, yeah.
But which I think would be cool is maybe getting a little bit of a bigger size then, and it might fit better.
Okay.
But for me, I like the Wasatch, especially for the price. I mean,
right.
You're getting a summer shirt or a late spring shirt, and it's gonna kick. I mean, it's awesome, So, I think that's hands down probably one of my favorite actually clothing that I've got from them. That and those pants.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah. So we use the Uinta
early season
pants. Yeah, and those are phenomenal. So
yeah, they are awesome.
What I've told several people about this already, but like what my favorite feature is the zippered side vents on the side of your leg. So they go from like where a normal like pocket seam would be on like the bottom of a pocket seam where you kind of like hang your thumb in your pocket or something like that.
Right.
The zipper basically starts just below that and it goes all the way down almost to the top of your knee. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it opens up, it doesn't just open up to your leg underneath, but it's got like a mesh. So it's like still enclosed, so like nothing's going to get in your pants, but like you can feel, multiple times I've been out and it's like hot and I've opened both of those and you can literally feel airflow going through.
And for anybody else that like I was using the Kuiu Tiburon pants, and they're supposed to be like an early seat, like their early seat lightest pant they have, or most breathable pant. And I still think that SKRE pant that Uinta early season is lighter and more breathable than that.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty,
and they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we've taken them through some gnarly stuff too. I mean, we did spring bear in those.
Yeah.
And we had great results. I mean, we were going through like manzanita and all sorts of other like catclaw and everything, and
hiking in canyons. I mean, we were putting it to a test,
Yeah. It doesn't get any more rough.
Yeah, scaling through mountains. I mean,
Heck yeah.
Those thick stuff.
Yeah, either one of those two shirts, the Merino 170 wool, if you like more of a fitted shirt, like that's what's great too. And I've said it several times the last few days on some content that we've done, but with Bowhunting AZ, you're going to get two different viewpoints. Jake likes completely different stuff than what I like most of the time, other than our broadheads. I think we agree on broadheads, but he likes his own thing. He likes the Wasatch top, and I like that Merino 170. I like the fitted stuff a little bit more, that Under Armour style shirt, and you like the Wasatch a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's not to say anything against that, Kaibab, because Merino is great. Merino is fantastic for dumping out water, sweat. I mean, it wicks moisture phenomenally. And so I just personally, I think if it was a little bit looser for me, I would like it. But that's why I like the Wasatch, because it's just perfect. And so
yeah, those are our two, is the Kaibab 170 or the Wasatch top, and then the Uinta early season pants is what we recommend. And if you use code BowhuntingAZ on your first order from SKRE, you'll get 15% off. And that lets them know that you heard about them through us too. So.
Right. And if you're going to be hunting early season here in Arizona, especially Arizona, I'm going to recommend getting some gaiters.
For sure. Because let me tell you, these chiggers that I've been itching this whole time during our podcast, like, dude, look at my ankles, like, still red. I still have all these red dots on my ankle. But yeah, you don't want to, if you haven't experienced chiggers yet,
you don't want to.
You don't want to. And if you have, then you feel our pain right now. So yeah, one of the guys that I work with, he's a retired canine officer.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, sometimes I would be going after guys that my dog would be chasing, like, and these criminals would run into the brush. And he's like, I'd have to go in after, because my dog's in there. Like, I got to go in after my dog and chase these people. And he's like, man, like, thick brush, gnarly, nasty. In the summer, he's like, we would come out just covered in chigger bites, like hundreds. And he's like, it was terrible. Like, the worst thing.
No thanks, man.
I guess he has scarring actually because of it, he said.
Dude, I don't doubt it, man. I've got some scabs and everything. Like, dude. It sucks.
So yeah, get you some gators. SKRE's got gators too, so get some of those.
Yeah, SKRE's got some great ones.
Heck yeah. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
What's next? You want to tell everybody what you got done today?
We want to talk about that?
So you got drawn for rifle deer.
Yeah.
And so you'll be after that. Are you gonna? We haven't talked about this. Are you gonna forego August OTC and just wait for rifle now?
I think now.
Did you get point guard? That's the question.
No, I didn't get point guard.
Okay, so if you chose to tag out early August OTC,
it's done.
You would lose your bonus points that you spent on that tag.
Correct.
So,
which I've already, even regardless, my bonus points are gone. So unless if I,
well, I think no, because if you had point guard, couldn't you say like, I'm not going to hunt this tag and take your bonus points back?
I don't know about that one.
Okay, I'm not sure how the point guard works. I've never had to do it. So
I'm not too sure. That'd be something. A good question, but you're asking if I ended up wanting to go out August, successfully grab a tag, and if I had point guard, then I could just be like, you know what?
I'm not going to hunt that rifle tag and just tag out in August.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think. I don't know. I truly don't know. But regardless, I don't think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I was kind of contemplating maybe about trying to do archery during my rifle my tag, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of just eager to just get out there and do it. So I think I might just stick with the rifle hunt.
If you decide to, if you want me to, I'll pack your bow for you just in case.
And that might be the case. Because if I see something where it's like that close enough, and it's like I don't want to.
Yeah, if it's like, hey, there's a buck at 100 yards, like here, just take your bow off and go. Like, yeah, why not?
And I might try that.
Yeah.
Just to, I mean, why? Why not? That's but I think that's gonna be my plan: is rifle, and then just plan for January.
Yeah.
August, maybe I might end up thinking about going out for bear.
Okay.
At this point, maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
I guess that does free us up for bear, huh?
Yeah, frees me up for bear.
Frees me up for bear.
You said you got some in-laws coming over.
Frees you to help me up for bear.
Does it? I don't know. Maybe I can talk with Brian about doing a mountain lion or something.
I'm helping you on your deer hunt. You can help me on my bear hunt.
Hint. Brian, if you're listening to this, I talked you up earlier today. So. But
yeah, that is one thing I want to do is mountain lion too.
I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be freaking sweet.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what my plan is for the rest now. Obviously, that's something huge that I've been waiting to do. I had 4 bonus points, so it's been a while.
Did you?
Yeah. Okay. So I finally got drawn for this rifle hunt.
There you go.
And then, yeah, I'm just stoked. I mean, I woke up this morning and I was dreading the last Friday of work. And then all of a sudden I'm looking on Facebook like, anybody checking their cards? Like, oh, shoot, I better check my card.
Right.
And lo and behold, I got
Jimmy and his wife, and I think they must have had a group tag because 3 of them got drawn.
Yeah,
and
then
they all got drawn on one tag.
Then Nate from Open Country, he was the one that when I first looked up and on my phone was like, I better go check.
Him and his wife and kid, they all got their own separate tags. That's so 3 tags, 1 household.
So if anything, you can just go help us all.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
if you get backstraps out of all of them, come on. Heck yeah. I don't know how you could be at like 6 different areas at one time.
Get the satisfaction of helping everybody out.
Yeah. So no, I'm ecstatic. I'm really excited. But
heck yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully if you guys got drawn, then good luck.
Yeah, good luck to everyone out there. I put a post.
If you did, please share and let us know. And when you do fill that tag, we hope to see that grip and grin. So
yeah, we love to share the story with everyone. So all right, that was a pretty good podcast, man. we went a while. It's 11 o'clock. I got to work tomorrow too. So
that sucks. I don't.
Must be nice.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody listening. Till next time.
Yeah, heck yeah. Now you guys are all caught up, and we tested out the new Hoyts today, the Torxes. So make sure you check out. Stay tuned for that piece of content because we rated both of them and kind of went over what we thought about each of those.
Or go into Arizona Archery Club and test them yourself. I mean,
exactly the demo.
I will say this: you will not be disappointed.
No, definitely will not be disappointed. So, and make sure to watch Ranchero and subscribe to that YouTube channel. We still have to release our spring bear videos.
And if you have any idea or a topic that you would want us to go over, or any questions, please let us know, and we'd be glad to try and answer those for you, or maybe try and get on that topic during the podcast. So
heck yeah. Sounds good. Well, thank you for listening, guys, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Take care.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, smash those 5 stars on iTunes, and leave a little review at the bottom. It'll really help us out. For our short films, go subscribe over on YouTube. Just search Bowhunting AZ. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Bowhunting AZ. Good luck to everyone this season. We'll catch you in the next episode.